Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's your boy Big Slang Hope. And I come back with another story time. But before I get into that, I like to thank y'all because, I got 10,000 subscribers now. You know what I'm saying? So, so I'm starting a little bougie with y'all now. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay, all right now. But, let me stop. But, I appreciate y'all. I want to thank y'all for, the support, the love, the comments, the conversations, the laughs, the memories, all of that. I appreciate it. I even appreciate the assholes. You know what I'm saying? Again, I can't stress it enough. You know what I'm saying? We need balance in this world, and y'all definitely helping us out. It's annoying sometimes, but it's cool. You gotta have balance. You gotta, in order to experience the good, you gotta know what bad feels like. In order to know what happiness feels like, you gotta experience sadness. So, that's the reality of life. So I thank y'all. So this story is about, the C.O.s. They went they went on a smoking spree, at one point. So, you know, so yeah, we was in the house. This is still when I was in Tulane. So when I was in Tulane, we was in the crib one time chilling. We was locked in. They locked us in for we was locked in for like a week. So after some fight happened, and this is a crazy thing. So on Rikers Island around this time, other houses had cameras, right? They started ever since they killed that dude, that Crip kid Ice. They started putting a lot of cameras. When that shit exposed the program and all this crazy stuff that was going on Rikers Island, they started installing cameras. So to make sure that nothing was really going on or happening, so shit like this don't happen again, right? So they started putting cameras, but Tulane didn't really have cameras. Tulane was one of them houses that still didn't really fully have cameras. So it was kind of they had one camera, and I think the camera just went straight down the hall, and then I don't think it really fully worked. So I don't know, I'm not so sure, but yeah, most houses had cameras by this time, but Tulane, it wasn't, because this is on the even side. The even side didn't really have a lot of adolescent houses, but not like the odd side. But anyway, whatever, they didn't have as much as cameras or whatever the case might be, or maybe the camera didn't even work. So we was locked in for a week. Mind you, it was no showers, no phones, and I think I briefly told you about this. So we in the crib locked in, no showers, no phones, people stinking. So they got something that on jail, we got some shit that you call stick it up. Sticking it up is basically if you don't wanna if let's say if you want something done, you stick it up. Let's say they take you to medication, you go out, and then you be like, I'm sticking it up. I'm not going to my cell. That's sticking it up. It's a stick up. You know what I'm saying? So, whenever you don't want to do certain things, or you don't want to comply, or you be like, I'm not going to my cell. It's a stick up. Or I'm not going here, or I'm not leaving the visit floor. It's a stick up. That's what they used to call stick up. So anyway, so what happened? So yeah, we was locked in for 5 days, and then it was they was just wilding, they was just violating us, treating us because when you was an adolescent, them people really be treating you like they your parents. They really was wilding on you. Some of them C.O.s was putting hands on you. They was just violating. They just felt you young, you stupid, you annoying, whatever. They just, they just look at younger people a certain way, that's that ageism shit. You know what I'm saying? People usually think ageism only works against older people and violating older people, senile older people, but it doesn't only work like that. It also works older people not really respecting what a younger person has to say. How many times growing up, your parents tell you shut up, you don't know what you're talking about, or your uncles tell you shut up, you don't know what you're talking about, or the older people in the neighborhood tell you shut up, you don't know what you're talking about, you young, not really entertaining the stuff that we're telling them. And we might be telling them some real shit, but that's also part of ageism, not really valuing what we gotta say just because we're younger. So anyway, go back to the story. So one day we just had enough. We should have did this collectively, but we didn't. So what happened was, it was this dude, this YG dude in the house, and he was he came back from somewhere. I don't know where he came back from, but then they was you go in your cell or whatever when he came back from the visit or something. He was just so everybody was locked in their cell. So they're yo, don't go in your cell. Yo, don't go in your cell. He's from RPT too. You know what I'm saying? So they like, yo, don't go in your cell. So like when he came back, he was like, yo, bro, y'all still didn't let us out, bro. Like, what's going on? When we gonna come out? Like, yo, it's been a week. Like, it's been 5 days where y'all wilding. So anyway, he tried to put him in a cell, and then like that shit just led to like, he was like, yo, bro, y'all violating. So everybody else was like, yo, stay out, stay out, stay out. So they took him to the whatever. They took him to the cell, and it was like these two C.O.s. One of them was I think his name was David, some young Spanish looking motherfucker, and then there was another dude with him. But anyway, this was in Tulane. So they took him to the cell, and then when they took him to the cell, I don't know, like, like I said, like, once you're in the cell with somebody, like, the cameras don't see in there. If the cameras did work, they only see what's on the tip. And once you go in the cell, once the CO goes in your cell, he could say that you hit him first. He could say anything, and then it becomes your word against theirs, just like on the street, a cop versus somebody else. And most likely they're going to believe them. So, because we criminals, right? So why should you believe criminals? So anyway, they took him in the cell or whatever, and then they was getting crazy with him. Like, they just started getting crazy, whatever. And we don't know what's going on. We just like this. Like, everybody quiet, trying to hear what's going on. We like this on the gate. Like we just like, and you just might hear like, you know what I'm saying? You know when it's getting crazy. You just hear like, you know what I'm saying? They shaking the ground. That's what they used to say. Oh, they shaking the ground. Like, shaking the ground is like when people get into a fight or people get jumped or people like, when you know there's some type of commotion going on, like people say, oh, they shaking the ground, because literally like you hear like the stomps. You feel me? So that's what shaking the ground means. So you hear the shaking the ground, and then like people be on the gate, and then you just trying to hear what's really going on. And as you hear, you might hear the cell door, you might hear the window, or you might hear the radiator, or you might hear the bed move, because some people bed can move. So, everybody on the gate just trying to like see what's going on. And as you hearing certain things, you trying to formulate in your mind like what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, there was another YG dude in the crib, and then he usually used to pop his cell. So usually if you kick your cell harder enough, like the shit could open. They old. So he used to usually pop his cell open on regular times, right? Like he used to do that shit. So I don't know if he couldn't pop his cell. I don't know if he was trying hard enough. I don't know. But they was telling him like, yo, pop your cell, go help him. Go help the gunner. Like, you feel me? So everybody tell him, yo, pop your cell, pop your cell. So son kicking the door. He kicking the door. But like, I felt like he wasn't kicking it as hard as he usually kicked the door. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? I felt like he wasn't kicking it as hard as he usually kicked the door. I mean, you could hear it because like I said, like this dude used to always pop his cell open. And now this time I felt like he was kicking it, but he wasn't really putting his into it. You feel me? Like, so I just felt like, anyway, so we on the gate listening, and then son kicking the door, and then like it's not really working. So mind you, as he kicking the door, everybody else in the house going crazy, like, why y'all jumping him? So everybody like kicking the door, and then there's a dude that was across the cell from the dude that was getting smoked. And the dude that was getting smoked, he was in the last cell, like 32 or 33. So he getting jumped or whatever, but he was getting, he was fighting back. And then like there's a dude that was across from his cell, and he's watching it. So he's telling us what's going on. He's like, yo, they jumping him. So like they telling his mans to get out, the other gunner or whatever. It didn't work. He didn't pop out. So now, they feeling themselves. So they beat son up, and then they close the cell. So then they close the cell, and then once they close the cell, they walking down the tier. Mind you, it's a long ass tier. Like it starts from like 1 all the way to like 30. But it's one, but it's on it cells on both sides. So it's like it goes all the way down. So when they coming down the tier, as they coming down the tier, everybody's tight. So they used to have shit like people used to put shit in the toothpaste, and they used to squeeze shit. So like they used to call them like guns or some shit. Like people used to be like, oh, he shot him. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when you squeeze the toothpaste, like sometimes people used to put urine in it, or sometimes people used to put like, it used to be mad weird shit. Like sometimes people used to put like shit and urine in the milk carton, and like splash C.O.s with it. Like they used to just do mad crazy shit. But usually they used to just reserve this shit for like when officers violate or somebody do some crazy shit. That's usually when they throw this shit on somebody. But anyway, so after they violated the YG, homie, they walking down the tier, and everybody else is tight because they just jumped him. You feel me? So when they walk down the tier, somebody threw something on them, or like water or some shit, or somebody like if people were just doing crazy shit, like somebody threw something, And then they was just like, yo, open such and such cell. Like, so then they smoked somebody else. They smoked like some patria dude. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point, everybody in the house was just tight, like just on the gate. We trying to like wild out. Like we just like they violating us. They got us locked in for mad long. So they jumped, they went in the cell, smoked this other patria dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got him all crazy. I ain't gonna lie, they did him real dirty. Like, you know, we heard the screams and the squeals and all like, ah! Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was crazy. They did him crazy, you feel me? But like, you know what I'm saying? But I respect it because a lot of people not gonna do shit. They're not gonna throw nothing on the CO or whatever the case might be. They say he didn't really fight, but whatever. People respected the courage. Then they closed his cell. They washed him up real quick. You know what I'm saying? They closed his cell, walked down. Somebody else like this. They was like, y'all niggas is pussy, man. Come in my cell. So it was certain dudes like just trying to get it with the police. You feel me? So like, yo, they was like, yo, open this cell, and they both was going in there just like, so they did this shit like, it was just crazy. Like they just went down the tit, and it's like that's how I know the camera didn't really work. Like, cause it's like it couldn't have worked because they was just wilding. Like they walked from 33 all the way down to 1, and then they was just like, if you threw something at them or whatever happened, like they was just going in your cell, beating you up, and then they was closing the cell, and then they just kept it pushing. Like, so it was just like mad crazy. But like, this is just some of the examples of like the stuff that happened on Rikers Island, and there's way more. It's way more situations than this. Especially when I go to adults, when I start telling you about my adult stories, there's way more situations where like C.O.s was just putting their hands on people, like they was breaking their jaws and breaking their arms and like, you know, and they was doing it, and the way they was doing it is like they always say like you did. They always get you in a place where like there's no cameras, there's no witnesses, nobody can really say we seen you, we seen them do this. Like they real strategic about where they harm you and where they do things to you. So, but this is some of the things that was going on. Like they was jumping people, they was just breaking people. Like that's why they got a lot of lawsuits. It was a lot of lawsuits on Rikers Island because the guards, one, either they not protecting you or taking care of you like they should, and somebody else harms you, and also you could sue for that. Like because like if you're in their custody and they don't happen to take care of you, then you could catch a lawsuit because like supposedly the way you came in is the same way you're supposed to leave. So if you get cut, if you get your arm broken, your nose broken, like you could catch a lawsuit. One of my mans, he caught a lawsuit because some bloods broke his nose. You know what I'm saying? He was Crip. Some bloods broke his nose, and he got like 50K for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit sound like a come up to me. You know what I'm saying? Shit, break my nose. Nah, let me stop, cause I know that shit probably was painful and shit. But nah, like, but that's just the thing. Like, you know, sometimes you could catch a come up on Rikers Island. There's a lot of people that was catching lawsuits and all that because the police was either not taking care of them or the police was the ones that was violating them, breaking them up, jumping them, doing all type of wild stuff. But this might be my last story in adolescence. No, I think I got like one more. Yeah, I think I got like one or two more stories. But you know, I ain't gonna lie. In adults, I spent most of my time in adults. So, cause in adolescence, I was only there for like 6 months. But I spent most of my time in adults. I spent like almost like 2 years in adults. So I got a whole bunch of other adult stories. So like adult stories is, you know, it's gonna be a little more entertaining. You know what I'm saying? But let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and you know, help me keep growing this thing, man. Let's rock out. Peace.